As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Proverbs 27:17. You've probably heard this verse before. It's a powerful image of one piece of iron sharpening another, making it stronger and more effective. And it's a reminder that we aren't meant to go through life alone. We need others to challenge us, to refine us, to strengthen us, and to encourage us. But let's be honest, this process is not always easy. Growth requires friction. It might make us uncomfortable at times. And while many people agree of the idea of iron sharpening iron, when it comes to actually living it out, it's where things get tough. And so what we do is we avoid hard conversations, we resist accountability, and we settle for relationships that keep things surface level, rather than letting people speak into our lives and push us to become who God created us to be. You see, Proverbs 27:17 isn't just a nice sentiment about friendship. It's a challenge. It pushes us to step into relationships where real growth happens, even when that's difficult. And I think this is a verse that we desperately need today. Because I think if you apply this verse, your faith will grow more than you can possibly imagine. So let's take a closer look at what this verse says and see how it applies to our lives today. We're going to start by looking at what led to this verse. And this will help give us a better understanding of what Proverbs 27:17 means and help us better see how we can apply it to our everyday lives and faith. You see, the book of Proverbs is a collection of wise sayings that center around how we can gain wisdom and live wisely. They cover various aspects of life, offering practical advice on morality, on relationships, on work, and just on daily living. And Proverbs 27 in particular warns against becoming arrogant and bragging. And Solomon here underscores the importance of friendships and the wisdom that they can bring. And much of the focus here is on hearing the truth and taking accountability for our actions. A friend must speak the truth in love even when it's difficult. That's how a wise person becomes wise. And Proverbs 27:17 continues this theme and highlights the importance of our relationships and how they sharpen each other. And the underlying message here is encouraging individuals to seek out relationships that challenge them and refine them, fostering personal and spiritual growth. Let's take a closer look at what this verse means. While short, this proverb powerfully illustrates how friendships can produce growth in our lives and faith. And in this verse, we see a comparison of two different things. And to help you better understand what this verse means, I'm going to break it down into two sections. And Solomon starts off this verse by saying, as iron sharpens iron. A common method for sharpening iron, or really most metals, is by rubbing two pieces of metal against themselves. And still today we use this method when a kitchen knife or some kind of blade gets dull. We scrape the two together and the dull spots are removed and they become sharper. And this isn't a one-time process. If you have a favorite kitchen knife, you need to sharpen that thing regularly because a blade will become increasingly dull with use, thus becoming less and less useful. And sharpening keeps the blade operating as it was meant to. And the opening image here in Proverbs 27:17 shows us the importance of being sharpened and how it should be happening daily in our lives. And Solomon now compares this when he says, so one person sharpens another. The metaphor of ironing sharpening iron is now compared with how one person sharpens another. And what Proverbs 27:17 is saying is he's saying in our friendships, we should bump into each other so that each of us can be refined and sharpened. This means that there should be some healthy levels of conflict in our relationships. There must be times in our relationships where truth is told, always in love. But iron can never be sharpened unless the two pieces come in contact. And in the same way, we will not experience growth if we avoid this process. Christians who avoid this, their faith will never become sharp. It will never become what God intends it to. We are designed to do life with each other, in part because we need this refining process. Iron by itself cannot be sharpened. However, we should be careful with who we choose to enter into this process with. Throughout Proverbs, we see warning after warning about choosing good friends. We must choose godly people who desire the best for us and us for them. And it's through this brushing up against others that we'll experience growth in our life and our faith. And yeah, at times, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to hear some hard truths, but it's only through this process that we will be refined. Proverbs 27:17 encourages us to cultivate relationships that don't avoid the sharpening process. It emphasizes the idea that the right interactions can refine us, can challenge us, and ultimately improve us. And I think this is a concept that we desperately need, and one that's becoming increasingly rare in our culture today. And so I want to end by looking at two practical ways we can apply this verse to our lives. And the first lesson that we can pull from Proverbs 27:17 is to listen to the truth of others. Now, most of us, myself included, we don't like our faults being pointed out. And so we avoid any conversation that does so. And what that does is it saves us from short-term embarrassment, but it also prohibits long-term growth. And this verse challenges us to surround ourselves with people who will point out the faults in our lives and hold us accountable. And again, this isn't something we should do with everybody. We should look for people who are faithfully following Jesus and who are willing to say difficult things to us with love. And if you're struggling to find these people, I would encourage you to pray and ask God to bring these people into your life. And once you have that person or two, listen to the feedback they give. Even if it's uncomfortable, we should recognize that what they're saying is actually for our benefit. And just as iron sharpens iron, truth spoken in love can sharpen us. And the second way we can apply Proverbs 27:17 to our life is to tell others the truth in love. You see, we shouldn't just seek to be sharpened, but we should also seek to sharpen those around us. And you can help others grow in their life and in their faith by telling them the truth in love. And we often avoid giving feedback to others because we consider it to be rude. But in reality, the most loving thing you can do for somebody you care about is to tell them the truth. You see, when we avoid these conversations, we are keeping them from growing. And when approaching these conversations, it's important that we check our own motives. We should only point out things in others in love and with a desire to see them grow. We should never condemn somebody. We should never belittle somebody, but we should offer a hand up when others need it. Now, this doesn't mean that you should just go around pointing out the faults in everybody that you see. Just as you should be picky with whom you let speak into your life, the reverse is also true. The closeness of your relationship should determine the depth of truth you offer them. You see, this verse challenges us to both receive and tell others the truth. And in doing so, we will experience incredible growth in our lives in faith. You will find that you will no longer be dull, but you will be sharp and equipped for every good work that God has for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it encouraged you to seek out others so that you can be sharpened in your life in faith. If it did, would you leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts and what God is teaching you right now? And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you can stay up to date on future content that's coming out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.